The importance of knowing who your parents are. Whether that's your father not being there, or your mother being there but not really understanding the mechanisms that created her or pushed her to become the woman that she is, that's manifested to you. To know their weaknesses, their strengths, things they battled with and overcame in their lives, and what can be passed down to you in your favor, and what can be detrimental. Um, where do I start? Growing up, you know, not knowing who my mother was until I was in elementary school, and as soon as I grew up until elementary school, about 6 or 7, thinking my grandparents were my parents. I do remember being very confident, very outspoken, running with like the popular crowd, all the people that eventually turned out to be very popular in my neighborhood. Um, you know, my aggression was there. Everything that kind of like red flag, like this would be he's going to grow into a great male leader, was there. Then after I was hit with the bum rush of, oh man, well, this is your real mom, and you have this many brothers and sisters, but there's no dad. You just have a mom. Um, Subconsciously, it did something to me. Became very unsure of myself, very insecure, more reserved, and just my interaction with my mom after about 6, 7 years not knowing her. And then I've had questions. I do remember birthdays. My birthday is close to Thanksgiving, so a lot of times with her, it was no birthday. I think I only had like 1 or 2 birthday parties after we came back into each other's lives. And it's always was a bunch of broken promises. And I remember every birthday I've asked, where's my father? Who's my dad? I always wanted to know, very conscious of knowing how important that was. And she'll hit me with the, not now. I'll tell you later. I'll tell you later. I'll tell you later. 11. All right, I'll tell you when you're 14. I feel like you'll be able to take it. 14. I still think I'll tell you when you're grown, when you're an adult. 21. Uh, I'll never tell you. I'll never tell you. And just thinking back on my relationships with women, me having this over hyper sensitive, forgiving aspect to women I love coming from my mother, forgiving when I'm lied to, forgiving when I'm misled, when my heart is broken, just forgiving. That parlayed into my relationships, and looking back, I wasted a lot of unnecessary time, extra time with women that I already knew was not in my best interest to stay with, and having that void from my mother. Um, as a male, I became more reserved. As I got older, I still continued to question myself. As I look back, I've always been a leader, but I questioned that at times because I guess deep down I'm like, who would want to follow me? I don't have, in my own world, in my own bubble, I didn't even have a leader in my life. So I felt like, who's going to follow me? And I just started really raising myself. I've had my grandmother, my aunties, my mom tried, when she was well, but as a man, I never had a consistent male role model in my life. I had my big brother, love him to death. He taught me things, but he's just 4 years older than me. So a lot of these concrete things that I realized came from just deep meditation and hurt, and trying to figure out how to work through this hurt. And I sit back and I'm like, wow, I missed out on a lot of opportunities because I doubted myself. And it all came from my relationship from my mother and my father. not being there because I had this void and I wanted to fill it with these different women. Maybe if they can understand me or love me a certain way, and all this stuff is done subconsciously. I wasn't consciously aware of what I was doing, but now I look back on it. It's very important for a child to know their roots, where they come from, not just from a cultural aspect, but the direct lineage, the womb that you came through, the masculine energy that helped manifest you, especially if you're a man yourself. All these things come in a part that gives that child that confidence, because he knows himself. He's aware of his entire being, and he knows, okay, my mom got that, my dad got that. Okay, I know where I get that from. That's just different, man. That's a different feeling. But if I'm like, I don't really know my mom won't let me in because she won't share this. I've always felt deep, tragic truth about who my father is with me. So we've always had that wall in between us. So I grew to not really trust women at all. I would be in relationships, but something about me always like, oh, she's lying. And the way I dealt with the line was just very like pathetic. I would stay with the woman and look past it because that's what I always did with my mom. Always honored her and looked up to her as being my mom. But I knew deep down I was fucking mad as fuck at her for not telling me the truth and lying. And I stayed in these relationships. And the same thing with men, not really knowing what a real strong man looks like. I would hold back, bite my tongue, very passive, and not sure of myself, man. And I've always been in leadership roles. Like, just for example, I through elementary and middle school, I just felt like I was an outcast, but damn near everybody knew me. All the baddest chicks that I felt like I liked that didn't know my name, I've ran across them in recent years, and they call me mom. Like, damn, you did remember me, like. So I've always had this presence, but it wasn't fully active because it was stolen from me. The passwords to unlock my greatness at a young age was not given to me. I had to crack the code, basically. I had to go in and really figure it out on my own. You know what I'm saying? I had to decode this shit. And as parents, now I'm a parent, I know what to give my son. I know what to help show my daughter these codes that, will help them unlock their greatest potential and really be confident, because they got that love from me and they got that love from their mother. So they're going to be confident. They're going to be cocky in some areas, and that's okay. But to be passive and unsure of yourself is not okay. And that's why I feel like you have to know your mother and your father to be complete. You know what I'm saying? And if you aren't given that opportunity, you're going to have to make up or figure some shit out. You cannot leave it void. You're going to have to fill that with something. Most people fill it with drugs. Most people fill it with sex. Some people fill it with anger. But you're going to have to fill it with something positive. And something you can stand on and something that's strong and something you can be proud of. More than likely something you can pass on. That won't be detrimental to the next generation coming up under you. So, know thyself is key. And knowing thy mother and thy father is the first steps to really, truly knowing thyself. Peace and blessings. I hope I shared light and shared something that people can relate to. Please comment if you have any questions, concerns, or comments about our advice. Looking forward to seeing you guys on the elevated side. Peace.